If you ever had a former partner go on a podcast to talk about your manhood, saying that it's the size of two Coke cans, maybe three, would you sue them?
Ooh, yes.
You don't want that attention?
Oh, man. I don't want that getting out there.
Well, then it's a flattering thing to say, though.
It
You're walking
is,
around with a
but
big hog, and she's affirming that.
that's what I was going to say. I don't want people knowing that I got this baby's arm that I got to deal with 24/7.
I know that's like your burden to bear, but it doesn't sound like that bad of an issue. You could kind of flex on that.
I think it hurts. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Would it give you like back problems?
I think that's for big breasts. I'm not sure for a big dong,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
in my experience, I never had back problems, Steven.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I
I
know.
never had to deal with that.
Stupid manly joke to say. I know.
It's why. Well, look. It's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, because you
I
wanted
didn't know the answer
details.
to it.
Thank you. I'll fill you in. No, the reason I bring this up is because have you seen the story with former Panthers offensive lineman Matt Khalil? His ex-wife Haley Khalil was on a podcast
Yeah.
saying that they had marital issues because his penis was too big. The size, she says, was two Coke cans, maybe even a third. And Matt Khalil, who's kind of a goofy guy from what I remember, but he didn't like this at all. He sued his ex-wife for unwanted attention and invasive commentary from the public.
I could see that. How much can he get for that?
Well, I mean, how much attention could he get, or what are you saying? Like the endorsement deals? Like he could get something with KM Soda?
No, what can he win with this lawsuit? Like, what does it entail?
Pride, high
Just get his
fives from
pride
every
back.
man in the courtroom. I mean, come on. I mean, I get it. Like, you don't want that information out there. This is the complete opposite. I remember years ago, there was Deshaun Jackson's former girlfriend going on a podcast saying like he was small.
Oof.
And he was like, I don't think he sued, but he was pissed off that she would say that.
I would be too.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting. Not really interesting.
It's kind of interesting. It's funny.
Is this a situation like where as a pretty average height individual, where I'm literally at the line where mediocrity sits in terms of height, which is between 5'9" and 5'10"?
Well, thank you for that.
Well, you're a shorter individual, Derek. There's no way around it. Sorry, but you're below that mediocrity line.
Jesus Christ.
But what?
Yeah, you're just kind of aggressive in the way you're saying it.
I'm just saying the average height is normally 5'9" to 5'10", and I'm right at that line.
Good for you.
Is, always jealous of the taller people, the taller individuals. But then you hear a guy like Kevin Durant say that he was embarrassed for being tall, and in fact, he got made fun of. So maybe this is the type of situation where somehow somebody sees Matt Khalil walking down the street and says, that guy's got a huge dick.
Well, what's so bad about that? Like, is that like a burden for Tommy Lee? And then, like, you ever see them? You ever see that Hulu show where it was Tommy Lee and Pamela, and he's out to be a bad guy, and it sounds like he is. But like, he would go to clubs and people like, "Hey, you got a big dick I hear," and he's like, "Hey, man, get the fuck off me." I get that, like, is unwanted and not something you want to be a part of. But at the same time, like, you got to sue your ex-wife over this. Couldn't maybe this is also something that we don't know, like, behind the scenes, where he's told her like, "Hey, I don't appreciate you putting this out there," and she goes, "Well, that's too bad." I don't know.
Probably, and the amount of money I'm sure that she got in that divorce didn't help the proceedings.
Yeah, I'm sure about that too. Well, I would say I feel bad for Matt Khalil and his big dick problems, but I think that he'll be fine.
Big dick problems. it really is first. Trying to think of like a first world problems, play on words with it, but for now,
huge wang problems.
Huge wang problems. Got it.
There you go. Just your opinion.
Wang problems.
There you go. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. I promise you all, we're not talking about Matt Khalil's huge wang for the entire show. We're moving on now to talk about some football. Wild card weekend, not super wild card weekend, Stephen. They dropped that, but I thought it was pretty entertaining, and I guess I would say super. Most of the games, 4 of the 6 games were thoroughly entertaining, including the 49ers win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could say I'm equal parts surprised but not surprised, just because Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh and this organization always finds a way. But before we get to the games, the news of the day, and I did not anticipate this happening, but sure enough, it did in this wacky NFL offseason of head coaches. Mike Tomlin stepped away after 19 seasons as Pittsburgh's head coach, and last night they got thoroughly whooped by the Houston Texans. And I think we all saw that coming, where I thought it was going to be a little closer, but the Texans' defense just overpowered the Steelers' offense. And I have to assume that this will be the end of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to stick around with the Pittsburgh Steelers to welcome in a new head coach. So I think he's going to retire, and he'll probably prolong that, announce that on the Pat McAfee show whenever he chooses. But just your thoughts on Mike Tomlin stepping away after 19 seasons as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach.
Yeah, why not? It's been 19 years. You're not going anywhere fast. Like, even when the Steelers head coaching job became available, did anyone say, "Ooh, wow, that's just shot up to the top of the list among where head coaches want to go"? Like, no, I don't want to go to Pittsburgh. Like, what do I have? What do I have going over there for me besides TJ Watt, who kind of is breaking down now with his body, which is no surprise because he plays at 110% at all times, where that defense had a lot of issues that I think Minkah Fitzpatrick covered up quite a bit. But that team is just, I don't really know where it's going. The quarterback situation is, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is not going to come back. But as far as Mike Tomlin's departure, it's one of those things, jarring but not surprising, because it's been been almost 20 years, and you just had your 6th straight loss in the playoffs where you fell
7, I believe.
7, but the first one in at least the 6th straight in the first round.
Okay, gotcha.
The first was, they lost to the Jaguars, even though they had the first round bye in 2017. And the Jags ended up winning in the divisional round. So really 6 straight years where you've lost in the first round. It's just been a lot of that. And there's been so much that he's dealt with just internally, whether it's
go through it, man. All the wide receivers, Ben Roethlisberger, and ushering in that new era where it kind of feels like they haven't really figured everything out after Ben Roethlisberger. He was there for Ben Roethlisberger's unfortunate accusations.
So.
He was definitely there for that. Yeah.
So leaning into that, and then just trying to find anything with this team, and just not really building a championship roster where they've been good but not great. I'm sure he just had it and said, you know what, I have my options. I can go into television because people love me. Mm-hmm. My guy John Harbaugh is gone. This is a new generation of coaches really that we're going into. I wouldn't be surprised. Shoot, next year, depending on what happens with the Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Reid thinks about stepping it down if the Chiefs just feel like they're not moving anywhere fast. Yeah. So, I think it's just time that we're moving on to the next generation. Shout out to Tomlin. He's been kind of a generation defining head coach, where if you're going to talk about the 2000s, the mid 2000s, all the way to 2020, you're probably going to have Mike Tomlin mentioned in that conversation.
Yeah, dude, I go back to the Super Bowl 37 NFL films mic'd up, where John Lynch keeps talking to Mike Tomlin, who was the defensive backs coach on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense with John Gruden. He was there with Herm Edwards and Tony Dungy, learned under them. And the whole time, John Lynch is just like, yeah, man, it's like we practice practice, I guess. Like practice all week. It saw that same offensive look. Nothing disguised them. And Mike Tomlin's like, yeah, man, I hear you. Then he goes on to be defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings for 1 season. And they had a historic defense when it comes to rushing yards allowed. And that propelled him to being head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers to take over for Bill Cowher, who was there for a long time. In the same way, he stepped down years ago after a Super Bowl win. It's just that Bill Cowher's came at the end of his career, and Mike Tomlin's came at the beginning of his career. But I guess I'm not surprised by this, because he had 1 year left on his. I should rephrase it, because I've been saying on this podcast I wouldn't anticipate this is going to happen. But when the news breaks, you're like, I guess that makes sense, and maybe it doesn't shock you as much after John Harbaugh gets fired. And I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers fired him today. I think it was just, okay, look, we just lost and we definitely need to retool. And we're probably going to go through a whole rebuild here. And Aaron Rodgers is not the answer at quarterback. We thought we could do a quick fix. We thought we could win with all these veterans, Jalen Ramsey, DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, we also traded for. And it's just not working out. We were lucky to win this division. So we're going to have to, do a whole rebuild. And that's something that we don't really do in Pittsburgh. And you got 1 year left. Do you want to be a part of this rebuild and be judged off of that for a contract extension? Or do you just want to walk away? And I think that Mike Tomlin was like, you know what? Let somebody else come in and let's start this whole new era of Pittsburgh Steelers football. It doesn't make sense for me to do that right now.
Right. Look at the quarterbacks, too. Look at the quarterbacks since Big Ben, right? Because Big Ben obviously took over or was there when Tomlin took over in 2007. Mason Rudolph started 8 games. This is following the year where Ben Roethlisberger just couldn't play after 2018. Mason Rudolph started 8 games. Devlin Hodges going 6, Roethlisberger 2. Then 2020, Roethlisberger started 15, Mason Rudolph.
You mean Duck Hodges, my friend.
Sorry. Then 2020, 2021, Ben Roethlisberger still, he started 16 games. Then after that, Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky. Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph. So they haven't exactly put the team together that I'm sure Mike Tomlin envisioned in the post-Roethlisberger era and said, look, you're not doing much to help me right now. Like, I think he's a really good coach. The guy's never had a losing record in his 19 seasons. He's a really, really good coach. I just don't think they've put together the best roster for him, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, that's a different story.
No, he's always worked with good defenses, and I'll remember, that 2008 defense when it was his second year in the league as head coach. I mean, they were pretty damn good. One of the best Super Bowl defenses of all time. Everybody remembers that James Harrison pick 6. He definitely got in his defense's ass by, or should I say lighting them up, where I remember him saying, like, I was part of the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers where we returned, I don't know how many interceptions back for touchdowns, but Derek Brooks alone had 3, and we did 3 in the Super Bowl. So that was his challenge to his defense. And they didn't do that, but James Harrison having that pick 6 at the end of the half. I mean, dude, even though he didn't call defensive plays with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was always about defense. That is what they're known for.
Yeah.
And I would assume that the next head coach, it'd be weird to me to see an offensive coordinator become head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's always been historically defensive guys. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. So we'll see who's next, and I kind of have an idea, and I'll get to that later. But as far as Mike Tomlin goes, I mean, yes, a lot of playoff failures of late. I think the last playoff win they had was 2016 against the Kansas City Chiefs, and since then it's been a lot of disappointments. But then again, like, kind of expected losses where they kind of sneak in as a 7th seed, usually 10-7 or 9-8, and you kind of expect them to lose to, I don't know, the Kansas City Chiefs or yesterday the Houston Texans or Buffalo Bills. At this point, they're not going to compete with those teams. So I understand why Mike Tomlin walked away, and also the fan base was tired of him. Like, I think a lot of people respected him, but at the same time, you saw the Mike Tomlin needs to be fired chants or fire Tomlin chants. Who's that guy in Pittsburgh? The guy that was all over Brandon Ayuk. Like, pretty much everybody in the media is always on Tomlin for his playoff failures. The team never improves. They never go anywhere. So it was time. I totally agree with that. But I'll always remember his press conferences. Those were entertaining as hell. And I'll remember the Tomlin isms. Like, I love the phrase, the standard is the standard, where you understand what that means, but also it's like, what? But you know what that means. Or one of my favorite phrases is, we want volunteers, not hostages. I don't know what he's answering, but someone poses a question to him and he just goes, we do not care. Like, just classic things that he said over the years, or just recently a year ago where everybody was questioning why they benched Justin Fields for Russell Wilson. And then Brandon Marshall was in the back of the room being like, are you justified now in your decision in doing that? And he goes, that's why I'm heavily compensated. Like, he was just smooth. He was a hard ass, but he was just smooth with the media. And I liked his no-nonsense approach. He respected the media at the same time when people asked football questions, really insightful football questions. He wanted to answer those, but at the same time, he was like, I'm not going to give away my scheme, but I respect your question. And yeah, all the bullshit he had to deal with, his teams were always successful. Like, he should be a Hall of Fame coach. The fact that he never had a below 500 season is remarkable. Some of the best coaches in football had bad seasons, but that never happened with him. And you brought it up, Steven, but like the stuff he had to deal with Ben Roethlisberger back in the day, those accusations of what he did in Tahoe, not to mention all of the headaches when it comes to wide receivers, Antonio Brown,
Le'Veon Bell, like him holding out, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and they always found somebody else. So the problem was replacing Ben Roethlisberger, and that's not his forte. He is a CEO coach. He's not an offensive mind. He's a defensive guy, but he definitely he acquiesced to whoever the defensive coordinator was and had them call the plays. They need something different now. I'll also remember this. Do you remember when he tried to mess with Jacoby Jones, the old kick returner? Rest in peace. I think he passed away recently. Yeah.
He was on the field and tried to get in his way of a kick return, and people were like, "The hell's Mike Tomlin doing?" He smiled back at him, and he got fined heavily for that because that was an insane move. But I always found that humorous. So yeah, man. Shout out to Mike Tomlin after 19 seasons, and I think if there's a reason why everybody in media was like, I think he's going to TV. He's going to TV. And I think he'll probably join Tony Dungy on Sunday Night Football. That's my guess. I could see someplace else. Maybe Fox, maybe CBS. They need a replacement now with Matt Ryan leaving. So maybe he goes to CBS. But yeah, if I had to guess, he's going to go to Sunday Night Football and probably be very entertaining.
I always go back to this clip that I posted in 2020. Matthew Wright.
Matthew the kicker. You love this one.
I love this clip so much. Because where Otis Bird is saying, yeah, Tomlin meant business and when there's no nonsense, but he always meant well. He opened up you mentioned the Tomlinisms. I watched a video earlier today where he did an interview with CBS talking about his favorite ones. And, the secret to success is there's no secret.
It's like, what the hell does that mean? But you get it also. You're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll always remember him for making splash plays, listening to Dan Le Batard for all the years that I did whenever they'd pull press conference clips. I forgot what they called it, but I forgot what they called the segment, but the press conference clips where he'd always say, we didn't make enough splash plays, just always splash.
Ham bone.
But this was my favorite thing though. When he was mic'd up 2020 season, I don't think there were any fans on the field this time. I just remember being obsessed with this when Matthew Wright was brought on as the kicker in the week leading up to it. And oh God, excuse me. And no one even knew who he was.
Matthew Wright trying his first extra point of his career. Not a Mona Lisa, but it's up and through. And Matthew Wright, he's a young man from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who came to the Steelers as a free agent.
Matthew the kicker, baby. His name's Matthew, y'all. If y'all didn't met him yet, his name's Matthew. You know Matthew? Where'd he go, you little stud? Where'd he go, you little stud? Where'd he go?
You little stud?
You little thug.
You little thug. Oh, that's good.
Or stud. He could have said stud, but I'd like to think it's thud. Or
either way. Thug. Either way. Yeah, man. And you could see his players loved him. I don't think anybody didn't get along with Mike Tomlin. Even though Antonio Brown had his weird thing at the end with them, but I don't think that Antonio Brown had anything bad to say about Mike Tomlin.
No, that wasn't a Mike Tomlin issue. That was an Antonio Brown issue.
Well, 100%. But that really was a Ben Roethlisberger issue. He had later on he said that he regretted that. I think there's a lot of things that Antonio Brown regrets. But yeah, there's a reason why Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, not because he thought that their offense was amazing or they were going to win a Super Bowl this year. It's because he was out of options. But also he wanted to play with Mike Tomlin. There's that famous clip of them looking at each other and kind of giving each other little flirtatious eyes. And we, it was apparent that they were going to team up eventually. But yeah, man, Mike Tomlin's awesome. I'm going to miss him. He's probably going to be very entertaining on television. So we'll see where he goes. As far as the replacement, as I said, I think it'd be very weird for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have an offensive minded coach. Maybe they should go that route, But when I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think of defense. And I think they want to uphold that image. So when it comes to the replacement for Mike Tomlin, I think that it'd be very interesting if they go with a guy that's been on their coaching staff a couple years ago, a guy that Mike Tomlin brought over when no one wanted to hire him. I know some people have linked him to the Raiders job, but I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Brian Flores is the Steelers' next head coach because I think he kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'd say that I don't know who the hell is going to be the next head coach. I haven't really thought
it's
about
hard to say right now, but I'm going with that.
But I think that one of the reasons it would be an attractive destination for any coaches, they're hoping that Steelers ownership with the Rooney family keeps to the tradition of just not getting rid of head coaches and giving them some time. Where
staying out of the way, yeah.
Where in this age you just the carousel is spinning so goddamn fast. It's like in Final Destination where anyone could die at any moment. That's a little grim, but the coaching carousel is just constantly turning, and the Steelers is never involved in the coaching carousel for the first time. It is. So I think a defensive-minded head coach, it does seem to fit the mold. Like even a Robert Saleh going to the Steelers. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. It just feels like he fits there.
Robert Saleh? Yeah, I could see that too.
Maybe it's just because of his approach to football where he's just so obsessed with it. And I think that's what Mike Tomlin was. I think that's what Bill Cowher was, where they're just football guys. And I don't know what the Steelers are looking for. I don't know if they're looking for this traditional find an offense. Well, not a traditional, I guess this new wave of finding the next offensive genius to lead as a head coach. Well, as you said earlier, you get some veteran to come in as a coordinator who's been there for a while, and then you just form this kind of super coaching team. I don't know about that. I think they'd rather go with someone who's more old school, blue collar, just like the city, right? They want someone to emulate that. And I think Robert Saleh kind of fits that bill. I think Brian Flores would fit that bill too, especially with what we've heard in the past from certain players. But also I do wonder about Flores as a head coach, though, even though he has this. I understand that everything going on with the NFL, in which it was unfair with the interview process because guys were just bringing him in so they could satisfy the Rooney Rule. Like it's definitely unfair in the way that he was treated. But then you see it's not just Tua Tagovailoa, but you see several past players kind of calling him out when he was a coach. Great coordinator. Awesome coordinator, but as a head coach, I don't know. Maybe he's just too intense.
He could be. Like I've seen Ryan Fitzpatrick say on his podcast, like he would definitely have to temper his attitude where he alienated himself from the rest of his coaching staff. And it's one thing if you do that with the players. It's not a good look if you do that with players. But when you're calling out your coaching staff and they don't trust you anymore, that's something where you got to look within yourself to be like, am I really a good leader? Like, am I just throwing everybody under the bus? And that's something he needs to change. There's one name, though, I did think about, like, as far as an offensive coach, I think that would kind of make sense and kind of fit the image of a blue-collar worker. Mike McCarthy is getting interviews, and he is a Pittsburgh guy. So I wonder if they would go that route. The thing is, I agree with you, the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and brass, the Rooney family, they stay out of the way. They let the coaches coach. But they really haven't had to interfere because Mike Tomlin never lost. So it's going to be very interesting to see who comes in and all the pressure that's going to be on them, where maybe not initially there's a ton of pressure because it sounds like they're going to go through a rebuild. But the key to success in staying in Pittsburgh for as long as some of these other coaches have is you got to win. So if you're not going to win, I'm sure they're not going to have the tolerance for that. But who knows? Maybe they're just very understanding people. All right, let's talk about wildcard weekend, Steven.
Oh.
And I guess we should start with the 49ers beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also, I lost in picks.
You mean the Philadelphia Eagles? Wrong Pennsylvania team.
What'd I say? Pittsburgh Steelers? Yeah. I got that on the mind right now with Tomlin. The 49ers beating the Philadelphia Eagles 23-19. And I lost in picks. So I got to do a little Carolina Reaper beef jerky. And yeah, I guess I'll just start doing this.
23-19 is probably my favorite score in all the NFL.
Why is that?
It's Monsters, Inc. The warning when they're contaminated by human beings, and that's a 23-19. So you got to bring in the fuzz. 23-19!
So I'm with you on that one.
One of the great gags
Monsters,
in
Inc.
animated movie history.
I forgot about that. Forgot about that line from Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I just did it in small bites.
Ooh.
One whole thing. That's spicy.
Oh, man.
The 49ers.
What in God's name is Langford talking about?
Yeah. I'm kind of with skills on that one at first, but I do remember 23-19. So with the 49ers winning this game, as I said earlier,
Yeah.
equal parts shocking but expected, because as I said to you before, when I go into a playoff game and how I think it's going to go, I usually favor the head coach and quarterback combination. And without a doubt, I know that Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan were better than Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts going into the game. But I thought that the Eagles, as a team, were that much better from the offense to the defense. And I know that the offense was shitty for the majority of the season, but I thought they'd just be able to turn it on. And I stupidly compared them to the 2023 Kansas City Chiefs that started out strong but were lackadaisical down the stretch and then went on a run in the playoffs. I thought that maybe Jalen Hurts and this offense would just turn it on like that, but that was naive of me. Honestly, it was naive because this Philadelphia Eagles offense is terrible. And it's not anything with the players as far as Saquon. A.J. Brown dropped a lot of passes. We'll get to that a little later. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Kevin Patullo, and it's Nick Sirianni, who really does not know what he's doing in these type of matchups. He was able a year ago to win the Super Bowl, and that's great. He may go down as one of the worst coaches to win the Super Bowl because this team was not prepared. They didn't go after mismatches that were evident. I give a ton of credit to what the 49ers were able to do defensively, but Robert Saleh, as Kyle said, had a very simplistic game plan, but effective. And Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks played great. But as far as a pass defense, I thought that they should have gone after them with Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley and maybe even Cal Katera over the middle. That's what good offensive play callers do. They find the holes in their defense and definitely expose them. And I thought some of the play calls, the 4th and 2, where they went forward early and they went on the sideline to Upton Stout. Upton Stout's a pretty good nickel corner in this league.
He's really good.
And I know he's a rookie, but that was not a good throw. That's another thing, too, with Jalen Hurts, man. I said it wasn't on the players, but it is. It's equal parts the offensive line being beat up and the play calling and everything. But Jalen Hurts, man, he has regressed, and he's kind of like Tua, where he looks at his first read and throws it. He doesn't know how to improvise. When he does, I thought Tom Brady nailed this, even though, his broadcasting's not incredible right now, but he's right about this. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, when he's uncomfortable, he will scramble to his right and try to throw before he goes out of bounds, and he cuts off half the field. And also, I thought that he was kind of weirded out because he was not getting pressured. He could have moved in the pocket a little bit more, but when he's not getting pressured, he just gets uncomfortable and just throws the ball to the first open guy, but it's not a good play. So I give a ton of credit to the 49ers. Brock Purdy played amazing. I thought the defense stepped up. I thought Demarcus Robinson had an unbelievable performance. That kudos to Kyle Shanahan for seeing the advantage there of Demarcus Robinson on Quinyon Mitchell, even though Quinyon got 2 interceptions. But I thought the Eagles were just terrible offensively. I thought the defense played pretty well for them, but you can only do so much when your offense can't do shit.
Yeah, I was shocked, honestly. I was. I mean, you could say you weren't surprised, but I don't think anyone expected the 49ers to win this game just because of how depleted they are and just by the mere fact that they did it with Garrett Wallow and Aaron Kendricks. By that alone, I'm surprised. But I also think I did underestimate what the dysfunction led to in this game, where there's just clearly there's something lacking with the Eagles. And I don't know whether it's culture. I don't know if it's a vocal leader. They say Jalen Hurts has been more of a vocal guy, like inside the locker room, but you're not seeing it on the field. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? On one side, you kind of love the fact that he's stays stoic and he doesn't seem to let anything phase him. But when they're not playing well, you want to see a little bit of fire, like the body language on that team, even though the 49ers had just lost George Kittle to a devastating injury, like the body language of both those teams, which was, led by Nick Sirianni and AJ Brown going face to face just because he wasn't getting off the field for a punt. That played a huge factor into this. And you said Brock Purdy was excellent. I thought he was okay.
Really?
I thought he was fine. That play to Christian McCaffrey was awesome. The touchdowns that he had, and obviously the trick play too. That's another guy I want to point out is Christian McCaffrey. Like that, I think it was the second. I think it was the second possession, or maybe it was the first. No, it was the first possession after they had that throw to Demarcus Robinson. But that throw when they were in the red zone at the Eagles 18-yard line, and Purdy just skyrockets it. And Christian McCaffrey being 5'8", he caught that thing like he's some 6'7" power forward. Like, I don't know how the hell he got up to even get that. Not to mention the catch that he made on the Juwan Jennings throw. I thought those two interceptions that Brock Purdy threw were pretty ugly in the second half. So
did Tom Brady.
Just going back and watching the tape and right. Like that throw that he had to McCaffrey was just so forced. I think he had Juwan Jennings going right over the middle, or maybe it was Demarcus Robinson where he hesitated a little bit. I think it was the second interception, or maybe it was that was the first. No, that was the first interception where he had Demarcus to his right, runs a slant across over the middle, but instead he tries to force feed it to McCaffrey and it gets intercepted by Mitchell. A couple ugly throws, but then he marches them right downfield. But I hate to say this because it does feel like I'm taking credit away from the 49ers, but it did feel like the Eagles lost this game. So many critical penalties in critical situations, whereas the 49ers, they're just buttoned up, man. And they just beat you by being a disciplined, well put together team, where the Eagles are just not that. I think they won those 11 games just purely based off talent alone and probably the strength of competition and where they were at. I mean, there's always 100 reasons why a team won a game. But it's a surprise to me that team won 11 football games, because that team that we just saw in the wild card round for the Eagles, that did not look like a playoff team. And the fact that they fired Kevin Patullo should be no surprise, because God, just what they were compared to a year ago, it's night and I don't even know what I don't even want to say night and day, because like those two are at least in the same ballpark. It's night and oranges.
I like that. I'm with you on Kevin Patullo being axed. He needed to go. I know that Nick Sirianni and him were very good friends from their days with the Colts, and I guess even Sirianni's holding on hope that maybe he'll stay with the organization in a lesser capacity, but no, he needs to go. It was clear that this offense was it had no purpose. It had no structure. It was just all over the place. If I was going to find another offensive coordinator for the Eagles, honestly, I would go with Brian Daboll, because I think that would be beneficial for Jalen Hurts. He coached him that 1 year in Alabama, and I think there's some things that he could take from the Giant scheme that he ran with Jackson Dart that would be effective with Jalen Hurts, maybe running the football a little bit more with him. But yeah, they need to go a different route, and they did today. So that's clear. I mean, they wanted to win this game 19-17. Like, there were some things that they were doing differently, like the Dallas Goedert reverse that led to the first touchdown. But they just ran the same basic offense and just thought they'd be better than you. There's no game plan to it. The defense kept them in the game. The 2 interceptions by Quinyon Mitchell kept them alive, but they didn't capitalize on that. It was kind of like when Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions with the Carolina Panthers. I think they got like a field goal out of that.
Yeah.
There's 3 mistakes by Brock Purdy, in my opinion. The 2 interceptions he threw, and then right before half, when they were in field goal range, he fumbles the ball in bounds, and they don't get a field goal out of it.
Yeah.
And that was in the third quarter. That's when the Eagles should have pounced on the 49ers and went up 20-10 and just missed opportunities. And I knew the 49ers were going to hang around and eventually take the lead, because being up 16-10, that's nothing. You're not going to win the football game if you're going to have that mentality of our defense will win it for us. Not against this offense. Even the Seahawks can't have that mentality. Even though they beat them 13-3, It's not going to be the same game come this Saturday.
No.
So I thought Dan Orlovsky broke it down great on Get Up. I don't know if you saw this clip, Stephen, when it came to that play that's called, I believe it is Sky Bang Reverse Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 plays before they run that play, before the third quarter expires, they run Sky Moore and a jet sweep. And this is where Kyle Shanahan's a great play caller because he sees everything before it happens. Before he's going to run a play, he's 2 steps ahead of you or 2 plays ahead of you. When he runs that play with Sky Moore on a reverse, it gets 3 yards. But he notices it's not really like the benefit of the play is to see how the defense attacks it. So he sees Cooper DeJean. He sees Reed Blankenship. He sees all of the secondary and linebackers converge on Sky Moore and notices that nobody's on Christian McCaffrey. So then 2 plays later, when it's the first play coming out of the fourth quarter, he's going to run it because he knows that all those guys on defense are going to focus on Christian McCaffrey and boom, it's wide open. That's great play calling. That's what Nick Sirianni cannot do. And that's why Kyle won this game because he's smarter than you. And honestly, Brock Purdy's smarter than Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a very talented quarterback and obviously is proven by winning a Super Bowl. But man, he needs to play a lot better because there were multiple times where I'm like, what are you seeing there? And the 4th and 11 play, people could say he didn't like the play call. He went to Kevin Patullo. It wasn't like a Nick Foles and Doug Peterson moment where he was like, you like Philly here? Or the Philly special, whatever. He looked at him side-eyed, but Jalen Hurts wasn't going to do anything about it. If he really was that quarterback, he would have said, we can't run that play right now. Call something else. And then they run the play, and there's triple coverage in the middle of the field. And you could blame that on Kevin Patullo, but I blame it on Jalen Hurts for being like, I guess I'm going to throw anyway. Dude, he was covered. Run a little bit or find somebody else. And also, A.J. Brown, dude, I'm sick of him, man. There's times where I'm on his side where I get it where the offense sucks, and maybe it's the play calling. Maybe it is Jalen Hurts. Maybe you should have a better attitude when they're winning. But you can't pull that shit when you're dropping passes in big-time moments. The first one, I'll give it to you. That was a hard one to make. Second one, that was along the sideline. You got to come up with that. Both hands were on that ball. The last one, that's 3rd and 11, you got to make that. You got to make that play. And I don't think he's coming back. I think his body language said it all from a year ago. Even though they won the Super Bowl, he was reading books on the sideline. And then, yeah, dude, you need to get the fuck off the field. We're in punt formation. You're going to get a penalty. Why does he need to clap back at Nick Sirianni in that situation? And then he leaves without saying anything to the media. He needs to go. They need to find somebody else. Maybe Mike Evans at free agency. Maybe trade A.J. Brown to New England because he loves Mike Vrabel so much. But he needs to get off the football team.
Yeah, he's been a headache pretty much the whole time that he's been there. Ever since that trade from the Titans, where the Eagles absolutely won that trade and fleeced the Titans with that move. He needs to be gone. I don't really know what, and I'm sure Eagles fans are just, I'm sure we are just, preaching to the choir, right?
Yeah.
Preaching to the Eagles choir that's saying, go Birds, get rid of A.J. Brown, get him off my team. Go Birds. It's, they're just a mess. Whereas the 49ers just aren't, dude. It's the culture, and how far can it take them? That's what I'm wondering, because God, it's been a long time since they've been in a situation like this where, they got to win each game on the road. Anytime they've gone to the Super Bowl, obviously it's with that first round bye, but can this culture carry them as far as the big game? And honestly, how can you doubt them right now? I just don't know. On paper, should the Seahawks win next weekend? Probably.
Yeah.
But I thought the Eagles should have won on paper. But then you look at just things that happen in the game, and we talked about it earlier this season. I don't know what it is. There's this reputation that the 49ers have, and I think it's something that scares teams. I think it's something that makes the opponent overthink things. Coaches make boneheaded decisions. They don't really know what to do. Kyle Shanahan, because they know Kyle Shanahan's on the sideline, probably drawing up something where he, saw some look that they gave us, and now we're going to run a trick play, and they're probably figuring out all the ways they could stop Kyle Shanahan. But, oh, wait, Jawan Jennings is going to throw a touchdown pass for it. What the fuck? Just no one's ready. No one's ever ready for them. And there's something special. Like it's not something magical that's going on with this 49ers team this year. That's what I almost disagree with a lot of people. We've been seeing this throughout their time. Ever since Kyle Shanahan has been here. Have they had their issues winning the big game? Sure. Is he doing it with a lot less? Absolutely. The injuries that he's dealing with, never been involved with something like this ever in his career. But each season, they continue to win these games where they might not be favored. Like even going against the Packers in Green Bay with Jimmy Garoppolo back in 2020, what was that, 2022? Like in the new year of 2022?
Yeah.
In January? Yeah, it was. Yeah, because that was the year.
2021 season, 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you talk about coaches and quarterbacks in the playoffs. Okay, well, who do you trust more? Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur with the Packers, or do you trust Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo? Like there's just something special with Kyle Shanahan's teams, and it's gone like that year after year. Just so happens that they lost a 10-point lead in 20 Super Bowl, and then in 2024, they lost it in overtime once again. Like there's just something there. It's this intangible. People are using the word magical, and I heard a caller on 95.7 get really upset with people using the word magical because it's soft. And I'm like, all right, how insecure are you that you can't use the word magical? It's okay.
Well, we talk about pixie shit.
Yeah, exactly. But like, there's something that you can't explain where these guys just have their guys prepared, and it's something that's, that others can't really prepare for.
It's the coaching and the culture. And the 49ers have an established culture. They go into every playoff game with that boom box, whether Debo's there or not, Trent Williams is still there. And they're just prepared. Where on the contrast with the Eagles, yeah, they're prepared because they're the more talented team, but there's not good preparation in the scheme or whatever goes into playing in a playoff game. But I think what the Eagles are missing is they were able to win a Super Bowl without leadership. Like they had Brandon Graham on that team, but they didn't have Jason Kelsey. They didn't have Fletcher Cox. And it showed this year where all the dysfunction was evident in this playoff game. I think the biggest thing that teams are scared about when they face the 49ers is Kyle Shanahan and just how prepared he is and just how great of a coach he is. And even though they don't have the same talent that they had in 2023 where they were dominant, he still finds holes in the defense. He exposes you. With DeMarcus Robinson on Quinyon Mitchell, I never thought that matchup would work, but Kyle sees something there. It was on the first pass, I should say, 61 yards. And then they score the touchdown on Quinyon Mitchell again. Even though they go back they go after him again, he picks off 2 passes. They're not scared of him. And the way that JYOM Jennings is able to get a 45-yard reception that sets up the field goal. I disagree, Steven. I even though Brock Purdy had, mistakes throughout the game, I thought that pass he threw on the JYOM Jennings reception that went in between the defenders and the zone coverage right at Cooper DeJean, that was special. Like he is definitely playing on a different level right now, where it goes past the scheme and what Kyle sets up for him. He's just seeing things. He sees things better than, honestly, most quarterbacks. It's like having another quarterback or having another coach out there where he's talented, no doubt, but he just sees everything so well. And he's like, Phillip Rivers and all these guys talked about Kirk Cousins did, about how you look at a defense now and some people are not able to see it like veteran quarterbacks, but Brock Purdy sees it, man. He takes command of the team. Yeah, I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to have a huge game on the ground for them to win this game. He didn't. He had like 48 yards rushing. So I give credit to the offense for, taking the opportunity in the fourth quarter where it felt like the Eagles were kicking their ass for that third quarter and Vic Fangio had the advantage, and then Kyle Shanahan just found the holes. And then as far as the defense, I will say it was the Eagles' offense sputtering for most of the second half, but I give credit, man. Even though Saquon Barkley had over 100 yards rushing, they hit him in the backfield a few times. And Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Alfred Collins eats a can of beans, courtesy of Dan Soder. Yeah, man, I thought the defense came to play. I thought even though Eric Kendricks has not been on an NFL roster for the majority of the season, he's a savvy vet. He came in. He knew what to do. He's been on playoff defenses with the Minnesota Vikings before, so he came up big. Garrett Wallow, I didn't even know who he was until a couple weeks ago, but they came through. So was it equal parts them playing well and the Eagles offense having a terrible game? Yes. But give a ton of credit to Robert Saleh, man. He had that team ready to go. And I think it's a foregone conclusion now with that performance that his defense had and 9 head coach openings, he's going to leave the team.
Yeah. And I'm going to steal this from the 49ers Reddit, but they're absolutely right. Also, KJ Wright, the linebackers coach, deserves a ton of praise for just being able to weather the storm. But it's weird. Kendricks and Wallow, why I didn't really have much faith in that is because Bethune and Winters haven't been that great as a combination. I think they're really good individual players. I think they got an eye for the ball, and they're going to make a beeline for guys. And if they find an opening, they're going to make the tackle. But as far as communication, there's a reason why we've seen teams like the Seahawks in Week 18 kind of just be able to run all over them because they just weren't ready. And obviously, Bethune ended up getting hurt, so we don't even count that game really for Bethune. But even before that, like that's why the 49ers defense was at this point where we're like, God, this 49ers offense needs to score shit ton if they want to have a chance at winning a game. But with these two, like that's why I didn't have much faith. But then these two just looked like they were savvy vets who had been playing together all season. It was nuts. Yeah. Like who really would have thought that? And they didn't really get much of a pass rush too. I think that's the other thing with Jalen Hurts in the game that he had. Like with Purdy, there were several times that he was under duress. And don't get me wrong, just because I don't think he had that good of a game, I still think that the idea that he scored the touchdown after those 2 interceptions right away, like he does something that lesser quarterbacks don't do. And that's taking advantage of some of the opportunities that he's given. Like if you commit a penalty, which is exactly what happened with when he got sacked, they were called for defensive holding. The Eagles were. Well, he's just going to gash you. Like any opportunity that you give him, Purdy's going to take advantage of it. And I think a lot of lesser quarterbacks wouldn't have just gone right down and scored a touchdown to make it a 23-19 game after the Eagles kicked in that field goal to make it 19-17, especially after throwing those 2 interceptions. I think a lot of players would get in their head. And I really do believe Purdy when it's so cliche. And I called it boring at one point on this podcast during his press conferences, but he really is that type. You could see it where he lives one snap at a time.
Yeah,
like he doesn't think too much, and he doesn't
one
get
quarter
in his own
mile
head.
at a time.
Well, yeah, one play at a time, one snap at a time. I was trying not to get too ahead of myself, dude. Like you know what I mean, man? Yeah. So yeah. That's my impression of him. So I don't know what to expect from the Seattle game. Probably a different 49ers team. I think we're heading for a heck of a matchup. And now we're getting there's definitely some animosity that spilled over from the past Eagles games. We saw it at the beginning of this one. Trent Williams always being there. And God, Trent Williams, just having his presence alone. Like the fact that when he got I told you I was shocked at the beginning, but I did text like my brother, and I think I texted you when Trent Williams was active and Lane Johnson was inactive.
That was surprising.
Like, I was like, oh, the 49ers are winning. Like, just felt it. And then you see when in the little pregame scrum, Trent Williams just skipping around laughing maniacally because he's 6'5", he's 300 pounds. Who the hell's going to mess with him? Nobody.
Yeah.
So just having his presence alone is such a big deal. And I think that's going to make a world of difference against Seattle. And the fact that the 49ers are getting another shot at this, I mean, it seems like the Seahawks are licking their chops right now and the defense is doing a lot of talking, but I have a feeling Sam Darnold is, even though he's trying to compartmentalize everything, I have a feeling he's extremely nervous for this game.
Oh, I would think so, man. Just before we get to that, the fact that they won this game without George Kittle getting injured in the second quarter, tearing his Achilles. And I know they've found ways to win without him for this season. Jake Tonjes stepped up and Luke Farrell stepped up. Really, Tonjes. Tonjes was the hero of that Week 1 game against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think that Kyle can scheme it up where Tonjes is that tight end replacement for George Kittle. But, man, to not have him, I mean, I'm sure he'll come to the game. But, like, he just, George Kittle is the heartbeat of that team along with Fred Warner and always optimistic, even after they lost that game to the Seahawks in the regular season. when Cam Newton asked him about the Seahawks smoking stogies in their locker room, and he's like, cool, I do the same shit. Like he's a warrior. He has a great mentality, and it sucks that he has to deal with his injury. And I don't really know what the recovery time is for Achilles anymore. We all
9 to
know
12
from
months is what they say.
that's what they say, and that was the case with Kevin Durant and the Warriors signing DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson. In basketball, it's more of a long, drawn-out thing. In football now, they kind of speed it up a little bit more. It depends on if you get, I wrote it down here, a speed bridge surgery. And that's what Cam Akers did. Like, if you remember this, dude, where the Rams, the Super Bowl season, had Cam Akers tear his Achilles in training camp, and he came back by week 18 against the 49ers. And he was part of that Super Bowl run. Aaron Rodgers, when he tore his Achilles, had the same procedure done. And if the Jets were in it, he was thinking about coming back for the last game of the regular season. So I don't know if this is going to knock out George Kittle the entire season. I think that maybe what usually is a 12-month process could be, dropped down to 5. We'll see if he goes for this type of surgery, but I wanted to say that George Kittle's definitely done for 2026. But yeah, his presence, his his absence, I definitely think will be felt this weekend. But I still think the 49ers could win this game.
Yeah. I think it's going to be felt in the run game the most. If they struggled when Kittle was on the field in the regular season finale, I don't know. Conventional wisdom says that McCaffrey's probably going for another game where he carries the ball for 18 times for like 45 yards, but it's like the most brutal 45 yards that you've ever seen, where he's averaging 3 yards a carry, even though 18 yards averaging out to 3 yards a carry doesn't equal 45. But you get where I'm going here. I think Dan Hansis actually had my favorite tweet of the game. It was just after, I think that it was about just after, like I think it was in the second half towards the end of the third quarter, where McCaffrey had a run, and he's just like, I feel like I've seen 7,000 Christian McCaffrey 3-yard runs this season, and I am so with him. Just every carry's a 3-yard run, but where he does his damage is in the pass game, and so it doesn't really matter. It cancels each other out, or at least it cancels out whatever issues he's having running the football. But without George Kittle, they're probably not going to be able to. I think it's going to be a big Brock Purdy game coming up on Saturday. Like, in short week, short rest. I don't know, man. Brock Purdy's fought through it all, where he's not even throwing a football when they're playing on Thursday night, and he can't even throw in warmups, and then he goes out and just tears it up in Seattle. So who knows, man? Of course they can win this game. 49ers going to always win this game. There's something about this team. Just something.
Yeah, they're not going to lose this game because it's on a short week. They don't give a shit. They've definitely braved through it all. So the way they lose this game is just Seattle is just a better football team. And I think they are, but mentally, there's something about this 49er team, man, where it spooks you a little bit. And across the board, with the exception of head coach and quarterback, you give the edge to the Seattle Seahawks. Christian McCaffrey's a better all-around player, but as far as a running back tandem, I think you would take Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and they ran all over the 49ers last time. But if they can somehow, some way shut down the run, then it's all up to Sam Darnold. And I told you last time I thought Sam Darnold was a little too gun-shy. And I don't know how he's going to be. First playoff game at home. His fans are behind him, you'd think. But I thought in that Niner game, there were opportunities, and they left points on the board. They should have won that game 24-3. That opening drive, he misses Zach Charbonnet. He missed Jake Bobo on the 4th and goal. And then the rest of the game, he was just kind of a game manager. And I don't think he could play that way for this divisional matchup. And I'm kind of getting a little bit of vibes. I'm kind of getting vibes of 2021, the Tennessee Titans teams that had the number 1 seed, didn't have Derrick Henry for the majority of the year, but they found a way to get into the playoffs. And they faced the Cincinnati Bengals. And Joe Burrow was not Joe Burrow yet. He was still, the first overall pick, but not much playoff success, just 1 win against the Raiders the week before. And he got sacked, I think it was 8 times in that game. And it didn't matter because Ryan Tannehill just had an all-time meltdown when he threw 3 interceptions. Tennessee were the better team that day. But it was just the fact that the quarterback play cost them the victory. And I wonder if that's going to be the same thing with Sam Darnold, or can he capitalize on the injuries that the 49ers have? Can Clint Kubiak come with a better scheme? Probably can. But is Sam Darnold going to be the one that plays better than Brock Purdy on Saturday? I wonder about that. Besides that, the Seahawks have the better defense. They have the better everything for the majority of the matchups. But I doubt the Seahawks defense will hold them to 3 points again. I think the 49ers will score, but can Sam Darnold have that performance? And we've seen the Seahawks offense this year either start out slow and then explode in the second half, or start out hot and then get cold in the second half. So that's, my perspective on the game. We'll talk about it more when we do our next show, probably Saturday. But yeah, man, the 49ers, I'm changing my tune. I think they definitely could win this game.
Yeah. Who can doubt them right now? It's not to say that I'm not going to pick the Seahawks. I'm still up in the air with my pick. I'm probably going to go, my brain's telling me Seahawks, but my heart's telling me 49ers, because I'm starting to believe in this destiny stuff. All of this little magical dust, Kyle Shanahan dust that's been sprinkling on this team. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just, there's something out there. But yeah, the Seahawks, man, they're getting back. They're getting back Kobe Bryant and Charles Cross. I know that. So they are getting reinforcements.
Ooh. I know about that. Yeah, that's that adds more to the defense. Good Lord.
Yeah, and then looks like Tank Lawrence and Reek Willen were limited. I'm just looking at the thing.
But they'll play.
But they'll play. But then here's the thing too. The Niners, they also have such a culture around them. We mentioned the culture a lot, but it's the guys at the top, whereas the younger dudes just don't want to disappoint. And it feels like they instill this confidence in them where they know, oh, if we run this certain play, this coverage, and we're going to get the edge here. Like, the coaches are going to say, you execute that, like, that's going to work. There's something beautiful about that, where a team, not all of them have faith in their coaches. Just look at Jalen Hurts. Look at Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and Kevin Patullo on that fourth down call after the timeout.
Yeah.
Like, Jalen Hurts doesn't really have much emotion, but even then, you could just tell he's kind of just turning away, like, what the hell's going on? And then
Sirianni, you changed the play, Jalen. Come on, you changed the play.
But then Sirianni's just like, all right, like,
God,
here we go.
That's so embarrassing.
It's just the complete opposite of the 49ers. And the Seahawks, I think, have that with their coaching staff. Mike McDonald seems to have these guys pretty buttoned up, and he's not some head coach who's inexperienced when it came to a first round bye. Like, I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember? Did the 49ers practice like the week they had the first round bye?
Back in 2019 or 2023?
Both, yeah.
Yeah, they would have had to. Absolutely.
They did. Yeah. It's just interesting how, like,
you're saying the bye week?
Yeah.
All teams do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and so it's not like it's lost on Mike McDonald where he's like, yeah, I'm just going to give these guys a week off. Like, he seems pretty.
Oh, no.
He seems pretty knowledgeable about what to do with this bye week, but at the end of the day, it's going to all come down to the quarterback. Like, what's going to happen is Sam Darnold just going to keep this trend going where he just seems to shrivel up when the lights become brightest, or are they going to finally break that trend where Brock Purdy just does not lose in Seattle? Because he hasn't yet, and he's done it. I think the second game of his career, or maybe was that hosting the Seahawks?
No. That was on the road. His first playoff game was against the Seattle Seahawks at home.
And then the one other Thursday night game he had where he basically had broken ribs and still went in and won. And I think another game in Seattle. I wasn't there. I was in Italy, but he won that game too. It's just nonstop.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, he had a dominant game against them. It's weird where the Seahawks 49ers rivalry, I think this is the strongest one if you're talking about NFC West opponents.
For sure.
Like, the Rams and 49ers rivalry was renewed a little bit between McVay and Shanahan, and of course the NFC Championship game, but that really had legs in the 80s. I think the Seahawks 49ers rivalry still has juice from 13 years ago when it was Richard Sherman and Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, Colin Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, and Richard Sherman hating Jim Harbaugh calling out Colin Kaepernick, saying he's a running back who could throw. Of course, the NFC Championship game where Richard Sherman tips the ball up and Malcolm Smith comes up with the interception. There's still venom from that rivalry.
Absolutely.
Is it renewed today? A little bit, but there's more mutual respect, I think, between obviously Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy with Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold crediting Brock Purdy for changing him as a quarterback. There's little things like John Lenore saying he wants that smoke with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and there's other stuff with Kenneth Walker calling out the Niners after the win. But
or Jaron Reed.
For one, we get a team that we don't like. Me personally, don't like nothing about them. But we get a chance to, go at them again. We don't do too much talking. We let our past talk, but we know what's at stake. They know what's at stake. It's about getting out there between them lines and, hitting the head on. Man on man, mano a mano.
Nice. Yeah, I don't. I think it will be reignited after this game. That's what I'll say. I don't think it's so back too. Right now, but I think that we'll see the intensity come Saturday.
I think if the 49ers lose, it'll be renewed.
Yeah.
Rivalry, it's got to go both ways. The Eagles thing, it's done. I'm sorry. You won a Super Bowl. Sure, you did that, but you didn't have to go through us. You lost in the championship, or you won in the championship game because our starting quarterback got hurt. No telling that the Niners would have won that game. I think someone brought, I think it was Ernie too, who brought up that had Purdy stayed healthy, he's thinking the 49ers would have won. Maybe that was Skills. I don't remember who. I don't necessarily buy that, but it could have happened. And then you get trounced in the regular season, and then you get trounced again when it matters most in the wild card round. It feels like that's over, especially because feels like we're seeing the beginning of kind of the not the end, because a lot of those guys were under contract for the Eagles, and we talked about that so much for the offseason, but it feels like their offense is going to go through some changes if Jalen Hurts doesn't improve his play next year.
Oh, yeah.
This is just going to be a different Eagles team if they ever meet up again. They're probably meeting up next year, right?
Yep, they're playing Levi's, 49ers and Eagles.
So maybe there's going to be something there. But right now, the 49ers are the big brother and the Eagles are the little brother. And the Seahawks at one point were the big brother to the Niners, but right now those roles have flipped, and the Niners have been the big brother to the Seahawks. So can they fight back? Can they get that one time Rick Moranis and Little Giants, Cherry Hill fighting what's his face? God damn it. What are the names in the damn movie?
Dude, this is one of my more embarrassing things I admit to people because I'm a football fan. I've never seen Little Giants.
Ah, God, you'd love.
I know annexation of Puerto Rico. That's it.
You'd love the scene with John Madden and Bruce Smith and
I probably would.
Tim Brown.
I need to get around. I'm surprised. During COVID, I thought I put it on once and then I didn't finish it, but I need to watch it all the way through.
Well, there's the one scene where Rick Moranis is the little brother, O'Shea, the O'Shea brothers. Rick Moranis is the little brother. Ed O'Neill is the big brother. And the speech that he gives, God damn it, I can't remember his first name. The speech that the little brother O'Shea gives before that game against the Cowboys, and the ice box, and the Cowboys with the guy who carries a fridge, Spike. Thank you, Ernie, too. He talks about that story. There's a Cherry Hill, and they always used to ride their bikes down Cherry Hill, and Danny would always win every time. But I had that one time where I won that race. I went down Cherry Hill faster than he ever did. All you need is that one time. All right, one time. And then you got that kid who's snorting things for acid indigestion. This is really profound that what I'm doing here. I hope you know that.
I'm sure it is. I just don't get the reference. It's
and
all
the Seahawks are looking for that one time.
I hear you. And AJ Cruz asking me, when the Niners lose, Derek, are you going to say I told you so? No, I don't do that. And to be fair, AJ, you didn't think they were going to – I mean, I don't know if you didn't think they were going to win, but you have had low expectations the entire season. And I think some 49er fans are going with the flow. I think some are enjoying this, obviously, as you should. But regardless of what happens, this is a successful season, no doubt. And it'll only get better. But, yeah, you want to get greedy here. You want to see them win in Seattle. And this would be a tall order, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised with everything they've accomplished this season.
I don't know. I'd like to think our podcast doesn't do the I told you so type thing, but I can't stand
Have we
that.
ever said that? I think
I hope not.
I own when I get things wrong, and I'll sometimes rub it in when I get things right, but I never want to say I told you so. That's so annoying. I hate when people do that.
Yeah, that's the worst. Told you. Told
Yep.
you it would happen. Told you it would happen. I love when callers would do that. It's like, yeah, you told me that, and you told me a billion other things that you thought would happen that didn't. Where were you when that happened?
And I hate also like you picked against my team, so you're a hater. Dude, I'm not a hater. I'm just trying to give you my honest opinion. You'd rather I just go on the radio and be like, well, they're gonna win all the time. You want to hear that? That's annoying as fuck. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Derek.
No, there's plenty of podcasts you can listen to where it's just Niner homerism. All right, let's talk about the other games for Wild Card Weekend. Were you surprised that the
Actually,
Rams?
hang on. I want to. You know what
Yeah.
I want to do though? I do want to call out my friend. I'm just gonna
Go for it.
just a 49er friend who I don't think he calls into KMBR. He calls into 95.7. I've known him since college. You know,
Okay.
he was 21. I was 19.
Was he at the wedding?
No.
Okay.
No. We were buddies. I know his sister from high school, so I know him through family, and it's they've always been like almost like my cousins in a way. But he calls me because he's a Niner fan, and he just likes to he just always calls me opening it up at the phone call going, well, you know, and always kind of talking his shit. So he calls me and he's like, well. How about those Niners, huh? And I'm literally going on a walk. I'm like, it's my Monday evening walk, trying to enjoy whatever I can with this non-rainy weather. And then he starts talking about the game, and then I start going into a little bit of detail, and I was like, yeah, dude, that all the touchdowns were crazy. That Juwan Jennings trick play, the throw to McCaffrey in the end zone. Like, did you see the way that they layered that? Have you seen the analysis? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, so here's the thing. I didn't watch the game.
Oh.
What are you talking about? So I went golfing, and the early morning tee time, it was meant to be at 8:00. And the guy told us there was too much frost on the grass. So he made us all wait until 9. And he couldn't speak Spanish. And I'm like, dude, you're Hispanic, man. How do you don't speak Spanish? And he's like, no, I don't speak Spanish. So I didn't have anyone who could speak Spanish, and I couldn't tell the guy my dilemma. So as I'm on the golf course, I just had to listen to it on the radio.
Wait, but if it's on at 9, wait. What time do they actually golf?
Oh, you golf at 9. It takes a while. Like, and I don't really know him or really his friend's golf game, but from the videos that I've seen, it could take a while for them to get through 18.
Damn,
it takes.
So he missed the entire game.
That's what he said. And I'm like, so
8:00 would have made that much of a difference?
Well, you watch it? Did you go back to watch it? Did you watch the highlights? Well, why are you calling me? If you're gonna call me, come correct. All right?
Yeah. You know what? I gotta call out your friend. What's his name?
Danny.
Danny, you're not a true Niner fan. I'm sorry. You would not go golfing the day of a playoff game. And you would not call Steven up going, well. How about those Niners? I didn't watch the fucking game, but no, that's a lame ass move. I'm sorry. That's lame as hell.
It's so funny. Oh man. Yeah. Anyway, that's just a side note. Figured I'd call him out when I had the chance.
As you should. Okay, the other playoff games. The first game of Super Wild Card Weekend, Rams and Panthers. Rams win 34-31 narrowly with a game-winning touchdown pass to Colby Parkinson.
Ooh.
How about 3 of these games ending in touchdown drives? This game, the Packers-Bears game, the Bills-Jaguars game, all touchdowns scored within 2 minutes to win the game. But were you surprised that the Panthers kept this game competitive? I know you said that the Panthers were to cover in this game, but I thought with the Rams winning earlier this year, or losing to the Panthers earlier this year, that they would be a little more focused. Not the case. They were lucky to win this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were. But credit the Panthers, though, for just staying in it. You had that situation with Stafford and the hand where it feels like it happens every game to him, does it not? More than anyone else, where he just hits his fingers off somebody's helmet. And it's like, oh my God. And he's holding.
I think it goes back to his, introduction to the NFL where he hurts his shoulder. That's all mic'd up. It feels like Stafford's always banged up.
Yeah. All the time.
But I should say plays through it though.
But the fact that I took my eyes off the TV just for a little bit, and I didn't even realize. Like, I honestly, what was the score before they got to it? Yeah, after the Panthers punted, right? They went 3 and out to no avail after the Rams scored a touchdown. It was 27-24. I took my eyes off the TV for a bit, and I thought this was the point where the Rams were going to run away with it. And I thought, all right, they're going to score here. They're probably going to make it a 10-point game. Going to be really hard for the Panthers to come back in these last few minutes. But then the blocked punt happens. It's just, there's something about the plucky little Panthers that I love.
Oh, they're plucky.
But it felt like that was the Rams game to win. Like, the Panthers were fighting, but God, how could the Rams really give that away? And then Stafford comes in and just starts dealing. Like, you know, depending on what I really don't know who. I don't have like a favorite team for these playoffs, at least one that I think is a surefire thing for a Super Bowl. But depending on what happens with the Rams and Bears in Chicago, and depending, of course, what happens with the 49ers and Seahawks and the rest of everything in the NFL, like, I might put the Rams at the top, because if you're going to talk about coaches and quarterbacks, I don't know, man, I might take Stafford and McVay over everybody.
Yeah, dude, I would lean that direction too. I think the best 2 quarterbacks left in the playoffs are Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford.
Well, Brock Purdy's right there too. I mean,
no, he is,
but
no, he's definitely the conversation. But these guys are a little more experienced, and actually, well, Stafford has the hardware. He actually has a Super Bowl ring. I think the only one remaining of the bunch which has a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, I thought that the Rams came out hot, 14-0. Puka Nacua with 2 touchdowns. And then that's where things kind of stalled a little bit for the Rams offensively. They go for that 4th and 3 right before halftime. And I thought Matthew Stafford, he does not trust his legs enough, where he should have ran for the first down there. Instead, throws it to, I think it was Higbee at the last second, and Higbee's not anticipating him throwing. So he's like, what the hell? And that's where you see McVay and Stafford kind of get into it, because they're both perfectionists. And then, boom, the game changes because it's 17-7. Bryce Young goes down the field. He attacks those corners, that Rams secondary that's not that great. They got Quinton Lake back, but I don't know about the defense. They got good playmakers we know by name, and Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk. Their defensive line's pretty good, and Nate Landman, but that secondary is getting exposed. It's been that way for quite some time now. And they go down the field, and Bryce Young runs it in. And that's where Stafford, banged his finger, as you said. Was kind of rusty in the second half. And, yeah, I thought the Panthers were going to win this game, because say what you will about teams that are below 500 that make the postseason, but when they host a playoff game, they play hard. And in some cases, they win. We know from 15 years ago with the Seattle Seahawks upsetting the New Orleans Saints. So it was a offensive slugfest, and the Rams stayed in the game. Not to mention, before halftime, Puka Nacua inexplicably drops that pass that I thought was going for a touchdown. That never happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they found a way to win. Matthew Stafford with that touchdown pass to Kyron Williams takes the lead. The Panthers block the punt. They set it up perfectly for Coker to get that touchdown. They have the lead 31-27. Similar score and similar situation to what happened during the regular season, where the Panthers won that game 31-28. They took the lead. Matthew Stafford goes down the field and then fumbles, with Derek Brown recovering. And then this time around, Matthew Stafford goes down the field, throws a beautiful pass to Colby Parkinson. They win the game 34-31. So I thought the better team should have won, and they did. So I didn't want to see the Panthers advance. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's just some teams where you're like, ugh, they don't deserve to go on. And I know they played well, but the Rams are just a better watch. So I'm glad the Rams won. Yeah, I said it. I'm glad the Rams won, Niner fans. Damn right I am.
The Panthers just would have been a stepping stone for whoever their next opponent is.
Yeah.
Like, whoever the next opponent would have been. And who would that have been? I mean, they're the 4th, and would that have been the Niners? No, that wouldn't have been the Niners.
If the Bears won,
and it would have been the Niners and Bears.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it would have been.
So, okay. And then the Panthers would have run into the Seahawks? Yeah.
Yes.
Or sorry, wait, no, it
No,
would have
no,
been
no.
it would have been the 49ers and
Seahawks
and
regardless.
Seahawks anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Screw that.
It would have been
would
Bears and Panthers.
Would have been Bears Panthers, and I don't know. Like, are you looking forward to that as much as you're looking forward to say the Bears and Rams? Not at all.
God no.
Yeah.
God no.
Yeah.
And then the next game, the Sunday night, or sorry, the Saturday night game, dude. This is an all-time collapse by the Packers, and I know that I've been kind of a Packers fan this season. I kind of always am with Jordan Love, and I like the way their team is set up. Getting Micah Parsons. This is an all-time collapse and an all-time rivalry. They were up 21-3, and I thought they were humming, and I thought, man. I thought Ben Johnson was unhinged to start this game with the amount of times he went for it on fourth down and didn't get it. He was. I'll reveal this. Me and my little brother. Some of our text exchanges are ridiculous, and you would think we're just the weirdest people with some of the terminology we use. But when Ben Johnson was going for it on fourth down continuously and not getting it, me and my little brother text each other being like, "Why is Ben Johnson acting like a freak bitch right now?" Like he was just like, dude, what are you doing? You're insane. And it set up the touchdowns. That's what led to them having the 21-3 lead. But give credit to the Bears, man. They find a way to win. They are resilient in a different way where the 49ers just stay in games but have all the injuries. The Bears are down and they persevere. The same thing a couple weeks ago when they were losing to the Packers and get that onside kick and go to overtime. And then Caleb Williams throws that touchdown pass to DJ Moore. They stayed in this game. I thought after Caleb Williams threw that second interception on the fourth and goal, I thought the game was over. But then the Packers didn't capitalize. They didn't keep their foot on the gas pedal in the second half. They weren't able to really run the ball effectively. But I thought Jordan Love had a great game, 4 touchdown passes, and the first touchdown for Matthew Golden in his rookie season. But being down 21-9 and scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter, some of the throws that Caleb Williams made as well were unbelievable. That fourth and 8 kept them alive. If they don't convert there, the game's over.
I mean, that's the play of the postseason so far. That's the play of the postseason. For him to be jumping with basically his shoulders square, and somehow he manages to unleash a dime down the sideline. Like, don't get me wrong, the receiver made a good play on it. It was Odunze, right?
Yeah, that was Rams Odunze.
Yeah, Odunze, he made a hell of a play on that ball, but it was about that throw, and to do it when it mattered most. Like, I didn't even notice this. I was just doing some counting as you were talking. I didn't realize the amount of yards that the Packers gained from not just the entirety of the third quarter, but also at the start of the fourth. So if you take their 4 drives at the to start the second half, their first 4 drives, 6, 11, 14. So 14 plays for 8, 13, 21, 21 minus 14 plays for a grand total of 9 yards. For a grand total of 9 yards in their first 4 drives. And even by that point, it was still 21-9. But then the Bears go and make it 21-16 and so on and so forth. God, once Caleb Williams, like, once he solidifies himself as like a pocket passer and gets comfortable in that situation, that guy's going to be deadly. Yeah. You can see him make the off-schedule throws. Sometimes he tries a little too hard, and we all think that it's like, come on, Caleb, this isn't the Pac-12 anymore. Like, you can't just run around the field and just hope to make a play. Like, once he starts to get into a little more of a groove from the pocket, getting a little more comfortable and finding his rhythm where he sees the field and understands defenses, understands coverages, like, this guy's going to be a force in the league. And you could tell why people were touting him as this number 1 overall pick. Like, it was just, I don't know what else you could say. And beating the Packers, like, I got to be honest, I was irrationally mad at the Packers fans, or excuse me, the Bears fans who were grating the cheese. I'm like, excuse me.
You don't like that?
I'm like, excuse me. It's a nice sentiment. Cheese is expensive. Okay? Respect the cheese, please.
Depends on the cheese, though.
Well, it looked like it was Parmesan Reggiano. And that stuff goes for $8 a pop, depending on how big of a wedge you get.
Yeah, but it's worth it, Steven. It's a heated rivalry.
Yeah, but it's wasting cheese. All that Parmesan cheese is just going to waste. When it could have been a nice little garnish on pasta, or maybe could have helped bulked up a sauce. Could have been a nice little addition of, because you get a little bit of salt in the Parmesan cheese too. There's a lot of salt content in there. When you could have put it into a dish, instead you're just letting it go all over the floor.
Yeah.
Have some respect.
They weren't thinking about the tasty dishes they could have made that night.
Have some respect for the cheese. That's all I ask. I was cringing.
I understand. I
No,
understand that.
you don't understand it, and that's fine. No one has to understand it. I hope it was Parmesan. I think it was Parmesan.
It looked like it was whatever it was. It was good cheese.
Might have been cheddar.
Regardless, I mean, I think people had different cheeses. I don't know. It's you can't think about the price of cheese in a time like this, Stephen.
I absolutely can. I did.
Well, that's your prerogative.
God damn it.
As far as taking cheese out of the equation, a lot of people were coming down Matt LaFleur's road for this collapse, and I get it. They've collapsed in playoff games before. The lead they had against the 49ers, the NFC Championship game years ago against the Buccaneers. But I would not fire this guy. It sounds like they're not going to. They're going to probably extend him and give him a contract, which I think he's one of the better play callers in all the football. And this team was not the same after Micah Parsons went down. All the injuries that they had to deal with, give credit to Kyle Shanahan. His team was resilient. The Packers just laid down. But I can't blame Matt LaFleur for that. I would blame the offense was terrible in the second half. Like, as you said, Stephen, the second half, it was punt, 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 punt. And then they scored a touchdown to go up 27-16, but they missed the PAT. And Brandon McManus, dude, if you're going to be the kicker for the Green Bay Packers, you need to make your field goals. Like, that was bad. To miss the PAT and force the Packers to have to score a touchdown instead of a field goal to tie that game up or take the lead, bad. Totally bad. And then, dude, the drive they had, they went 8 plays, 48 yards, where Romeo Doubs had an all-time grab that was beautiful, comes up with nothing in the end because he misses the kick. And that's what set up the game-winning touchdown pass from Caleb Williams to DJ Moore. So give a ton of credit to the Chicago Bears. They've been this type of team coming back from big deficits all season long. Caleb Williams grew up. Ben Johnson, even though he's a first-time NFL head coach, not having the experience of a Matt LaFleur, he showed him up. They won the game in the longest rivalry in the NFL. And you can make what you want about the handshake. I thought it was funny and kind of getting, Matt LaFleur, giving him a taste of his own medicine. He does not like that team, and I like that. He embraces being the Chicago Bears head coach. You're not supposed to like the Green Bay Packers. He said it with his chest after the game. Fuck the Packers. So give a ton of credit to the Bears, the Packers, man. I don't know what their future holds. I believe in Jordan Love. I believe in Matt LaFleur. That defense, it should be good when Micah Parsons gets back, and maybe that's week 3. But they need him. And I think that if Jeff Hafley's getting all these coaching interviews, I think he needs to stay on for another year, because after that performance, I wouldn't want to hire him.
Yeah. I haven't even thought about the coaches, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more about the cheese.
You care about that cheese, I understand.
Also, what the hell? Matt LaFleur, put on a hat or a beanie or something. I know you got this cute little haircut, but good God, it looked cold out there in Chicago. Like, put a hood on.
Well, he doesn't have like the frostbite of Tom Coughlin from back in the day. That was bad. Oh, I felt bad for that guy. Bills and Jags, entertaining as hell. 27-24. Bills move on. First road win for Josh Allen. I thought that the Jaguars played really well and inspired, and good performance by Trevor Lawrence. But this was just a shootout that the team with the football last. Well, I turned the ball over. But as far as the Buffalo Bills, same thing with the other two teams, the Rams and the Bears. They went on a touchdown drive to win the game. And this is where Josh Allen needs to be Superman the rest of the way. His supporting cast, I don't think is as good as in years past. I don't think it's as demonstrative, or I don't know the proper words, but we all know what Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis was there and tore his ACL unfortunately in this game, but he's got the likes of Khalil Shakir now and Keon Coleman. It's just a lot to ask of these inexperienced wide receivers. But I don't know what the stat is, but as long as they have Dalton Kincaid, They usually win their games, and they have a strong running game with James Cook. But yeah, man, I thought that the Jags played well for that last possession for the Jaguars. I know you texted me like a bad drop by Jacoby Myers. I don't blame him for the drop. I thought it was a bad throw or a bad decision by Trevor Lawrence where Tre'Davious White's all over him. And he just made a good play, tipped up in the air, and Cole Bishop comes up with the interception. I thought the Jags could have, tied this game up earlier. That drive they had right before half where Cam Little goes out for a 54-yard field goal. They get it because they line up right at the last second and the Bills are off sides. Gives him the field goal, but he misses. Missed opportunity there. But yeah, dude, I think the Jaguars should, as Lynn Jones said in the press conference, hold their head up high because they had a really good season. But Josh Allen just became Superman, and he's going to do those with being the quarterback that he is, and there being no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson. Everybody's going to look to him. Where can he carry this team to a Super Bowl because he's that good of a quarterback?
Duval, let's go. Thank you, Mayor. No, this is Josh Allen. This is Josh Allen's playoffs, man. Like we talked about it, and I think he knows that. In the fourth quarter, like you said, just trading touchdown for touchdown. But that thing in the fourth quarter that bothered me, and I texted you about it. Then you just hit me with all the other teams voted for it. Who cares?
No. It's a valid argument, but he wasn't alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know, but like the fact that Sean McDermott is
you're totally right. You're totally
one
right.
of these, just one of these guys who is totally outspoken about the tush push and the calling out the safety of the game and how players just are risking their lives if they're running this play and the Eagles are going to do it nonstop. Well, that's how the Bills did it.
Yep,
the
you're right.
push won them this game. Besides, the dual tight ends, like you mentioned, with Dalton Kincaid, also a big time pass to Dawson Knox, and then another pass to Brandon Cooks, while James Cook did his thing as well.
Yeah.
There was others that are getting involved, but the tush push is what pushed them over the edge, just their version of it. And as far as I'm concerned, it does not look like Jalen Hurts is in that much danger whenever the Eagles run the tush push. It looks like it's more on the offensive line. Josh Allen is just getting crushed every single time they run it. And I'm like, what are you talking about, player safety, when you're running it with your 6'5" quarterback who gets pummeled every single time that tush push players ran? It bothered me, man. Anyway.
No, I don't blame you. Sean McDermott, he definitely
critical. Come on.
Every coach was whiny about this in the offseason, with the exception of Dan Campbell and a few others that supported the tush push. But yeah, I don't see Jalen Hurts get roughed up as much as Josh Allen when he runs it. Like that first touchdown, and he's holding his knee, and I was like, ooh, what's going on there? He hurt his hand throwing a ball and hitting it off of a teammate's helmet. But yeah, he's the ultimate warrior. And Brandon Cooks, he might be the difference for them as far as speed down the field right now. They got Khalil Shakir, but he's not as experienced. Everybody else is just kind of slow when it comes to their wide receivers with the Buffalo Bills. But Brandon Cooks, man, I don't know how long that pass was, but that was a difference to put them in a good position to get that scoring touchdown. So, yeah, I'm with you. The tush push definitely won it for them. And man, the push they got on that 4th and 1, where it looked like Josh Allen scored initially, but then they were ruled at the 1-yard line. A lot of interesting calls in that game too, where just a split, like it's a little bit of an index card where Gene Steratore is like, he might be short, like the 4th and 1 decision or whatever the down and distance was, but Trevor Lawrence going for it, or Liam Cohen going for it, but Trevor Lawrence rushing for the first down, but then just his shin goes down right before the first down. That's what cost them in that situation. Same thing with Josh Allen earlier, but it was a 3rd and 1, so they were able to run a 4th and 1 and get the push there. So, yeah, man, it was just Josh Allen being an incredible quarterback and being the better quarterback that day. But give a ton of credit to the Jaguars, as Lynn Jones was trying to do in the postgame. Can we talk about this real quick?
Sure.
Because this caused a whole stir that I thought was ridiculous. I get it. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Lynn Jones, who is a longtime columnist for the Jacksonville Free Press, a African-American publication, and she, I think, has been covering Jacksonville media for over 30 years. And she said, I saw an interview she did. She has interviewed everybody from Jaguars players to Barack Obama and others. So she's a journalist. She's, what you would call a journalist. But do you have the clip, Steven? A lot of people did not like her giving praise to Liam Cohen in the post game.
Oh, I don't. I only have the. Hang on 1 second.
I sent it to you, didn't I?
You sent me the one where. Oh no, never mind. You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Anyway, yeah, like she praises Liam Cohen and tells him to keep his head up, and this caused so much argument on Twitter that I was like, "What are we doing here?"
Tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
You did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you,
You
ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so I would say between the two of us, Steven, you are much more of a journalist than I am. What do you think of this whole thing?
Well, not much more of a journalist than you are. What are you talking about?
Well, you're a CBS reporter.
Yeah, sure. Okay, my whole thing. There's a lot of journalists out there who are condemning this, saying that this has no place
Yes.
in post-game press conferences. While it's lovely, it shouldn't, like Jeff Pearlman, who I've talked about numerous and innumerable times, my favorite writer. He goes on, he does a TikTok video or whatever, and he comments on this, and he's going to kind of giving the explanation and filibustering before he gives his actual point. And I was really interested to hear like what his perspective was on why a journalist can't do that. He's like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain why, just in case you don't know, here's the background, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, you just can't do it. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Fine. Like, and I get it, because these people have, gone to school, they have studied so that they become journalists. And I don't like the discourse that it had around sports journalism. I hated Pat McAfee's response. I think that was just on his part, considering what he's done in this past year. Just look at that college girl who they were making jokes about on their own show. And then she ended up basically saying that her life was ruined because they propped up some false rumor about her in college, whatever it was, like different things like that. There are several times I can think of where McAfee like had to apologize because they didn't have all the information or didn't know that it would cause such a commotion. It's just like, are you really the right guy to be commenting on whether sports journalism is right or wrong? Like, I didn't like his response at all. But the point is, like, journalists are pissed.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. If they want to be, they say that you're supposed to be impartial. You're supposed to be covering down the middle. Like, all right, fine. And you the others back there have a deadline and they want to meet that deadline, whatever. But on the other side of it, I'm like, it was a nice thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know. There was that one time where you remember that clip with Russell Wilson where, or excuse me, not Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook, where the
With
reporter,
Bonte?
huh?
With Bonte?
I didn't see the replay. I think it was with the Lakers, and this reporter basically compliments him throughout until giving him like a question.
Yeah.
Like saying, like, you've always been known to do this throughout your career. You do this specific move where you do this and you do that, and then more often than not, it goes in. And everyone's like, "Oh, look at Russ! Like everyone's been attacking him, and he loved it. He appreciated the question." If Liam Cohen appreciated it, then I think it's fine. But I can understand the perspective from the journalists who say that doesn't really have a place in here. Like, go and do that in private. Like pull him to the side afterwards or something.
Yeah. So I thought it was weird when I first saw it, but she obviously sees that he's upset, and it was a devastating loss. It's his first year as head coach, and they lose that game. And I don't know if she's at every Jacksonville Jaguars game, but she was there. It's a big moment, and she wanted to say that. So I don't think it needs to be something that everybody's like, well, that was bullshit. Why the fuck did she do that? Like, relax. I don't think it was that big of a deal. And I don't think like however long she spoke, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, that's not going to kill you on your deadline. I think what pissed off people was Adam Schefter's tweet, the way he phrased it, saying this was an awesome exchange. And I think that some people came out and was like, that's awesome. That's not true journalism. It's not. It's not. It's not. But I don't think she was trying to be a journalist in that moment. I don't think it needs to be debated by everybody and being like she needs to get her credentials revoked. And then
also that debate was started by sports journalists, and like I think that's also another thing where it's like, you know, understand who you are. Like sports journalism, like the respect for it, it's probably as low as it's been.
It has.
It's because people have all their own podcasts and feel like they can have their own voice and don't need sports media people to give them a voice. Rather, they're just going to make their own platform through TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all those different things. And that's how a lot of these people in the Bay Area, like you're seeing a lot of it with the 49ers, and you're seeing a lot of it with the Raiders, where you're just kind of seeing random people who don't really have, you know, history in this profession. And so I can understand why journalists were mad, but also to fight that battle openly on social media. Like you're not going to win that battle no matter how much you try to convince people. And when you talk about, you know, the sanctity of journalism, it just sounds like you're even more on your high horse, which is what people don't really seem to like in the first place, or what people don't seem to understand is they feel like journalists are above them when it comes to watching sports. But yeah, as far as the reporter doing that, I'd like to hear the opinion of people within Jacksonville. I think some guy from the Associated Press went off about it. But also, if you have a problem, go say something to her. Just you know, don't go to Twitter and just hope that people for like what's basically rage bait, and you know, you just hope people catch on and maybe respond and whatever. Like the thing, like Brooke Pryor, who covers the Steelers for ESPN, does a very good job. One of the top people who was outspoken on this. And then you listen to the Mike Tomlin interview, and I think she was the one who asked the question about his future, and then he just says, I'm not going to comment on the big picture right now. Great. Like, cool. At least you got the question in. You know, it's
yeah, but like that's the thing. Like Aaron Rodgers was asked the same stuff, and he was like, I've been asked that question so many times. I get people have to ask that question, but at least it was something different in a press conference. Not that it needs to be, you know, I don't know why it need to be isolated and shared on social media the way it did, and almost like, oh my God, what a great moment. Like, okay, she praised him. That's nice. It's sweet. I just think that I respect a lot of journalists out there, and I think. I know that like it's not respected as much as it used to be, and you know that there is an importance with journalism. At the same time, everybody that came out and had to chastise this woman for doing this, I thought it came across really snooty and arrogant. And even though you can disagree with Pat McAfee and what he said, I don't think you need to go out of your way to call this woman out. I thought that was just kind of disgusting, honestly.
Well, I mean, it wasn't McAfee calling her out.
No. I'm not saying no. I'm talking about the people that went to social media and called her out. With McAfee, he's this crusader against journalism. Yeah. And I think he wants to be accepted, but also wants to tell people, fuck you for not including me. Like the Bob Ryans of the journalism world, they're like, I don't want my Pat McAfees on the All-Star game. And I get that. I get it, but also I think you have to respect the fact that, you know, there's going to be people like you or me that are doing podcasts or, you know, doing radio gigs, and there's going to be different types of people that do media these days. And I don't think it needs to be something that's up in arms where it's like, I can't believe she asked that question. It was 30 seconds. Not even. Calm down.
Yeah. I don't know. I also think it's weird it's a weird thing to be passionate about if you're outside of journalism, though. Like if you're just a fan who really just decided to take this and just go off on the state of it, like it's weird to me. It's very strange. We're always looking for something.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's at the end of the day, that's it. Like especially through social media, We are just looking for that one thing that you feel like everyone can have an opinion on, then everyone's going to have one, and it creates something that probably shouldn't have been created in the first place. Like, it's just a minor thing. It's very minor.
It is.
It wouldn't matter. Like if this was just a random thing that played before social media was a thing, and it was just like it was just you heard it on TV. Like what you'd probably get, I don't know, some talking on Pardon the Interruption, maybe on Around the Horn or whatever on First Take, where Stephen A is like, she's a close personal friend. She's a friend of mine, but I will not allow it.
Well, let's hope Stephen A gets the name right.
Yeah, I hope so. Oof. Brutal. It's unfortunate when he mixes politics with his day job.
Yeah, that's bound to happen, though.
Yeah.
I saw this morning, if you don't know what we're talking about, Stephen A. Smith unfortunately referred to Christian Kirk as Charlie Kirk today on First Take.
I'm sorry, but the thing that made me laugh so hard was when he had to take it back.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God.
Who's the First Take host? I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I don't know her name. Yeah,
I don't know her name, but she
you could see everybody on that panel just being like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, and quickly, she's just like, "Not Christian, not Charlie Kirk. That is Christian Kirk." And then, then Stephen A. just goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Oh God, oh my bad."
Yeah, because that's for the obvious reasons, but their names are similar, so I give him a pass with that one, even though it's like, ooh,
it's only a matter of time. You know, before he started, like, is there an athlete out there named Donald that's really popular?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's at some point, he's gonna make that. He's gonna make that mistake because he's been calling out Donald Trump so much. Anyway, what were we talking about? The journalism thing. Yeah, it's just weird. It's like it's like ants flocking to something that's coated with sugar that you might have left on your kitchen counter. Just as soon as you see something, you're just gonna roll to it. Ooh, what can I do to inflict? What can I inject my opinion on these things? Like, why do so many people have to comment on something? How much engagement did that clip get?
So much.
So much.
It was ridiculous. That during the Niners-Eagles game, that's all anyone tweeted about. Like I was looking, I was like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, this is that much of a debated topic right now of let's call out this woman for saying something to Liam Cohen. I want to know who started it. I want to know who was the first journalist that was like, this is wrong.
2,000 replies, 10,000 quote tweets, over 100,000 likes, and 18.8 million views of people commenting on Adam Schefter's post alone. And if you look, let me guess, it's just going to be something that everyone's been saying about it. Yeah. She changed his entire facial expression and demeanor in seconds. That's someone's grandma right there. So wholesome. And then someone else writes, I've felt a certain way about a lot of sports reporters for a while now, but this has really brought it to light. Don't have to read, but just wanted to rant, and decides to write an essay about sports journalists. Like, why? Why? Go do something
Seriously.
with your time. Oh my God.
It's not that serious.
He did. It was beautiful. Like, great. Made a coach feel better and propped him up after his team just lost a gut-wrenching game to a team that they should have been favored over. But good God, man.
Yeah, I thought Scott Van Pelt put it the best, where I watched him on the post-game show, and he was just like, he didn't do like a whole segment on it, but they showed that clip, and he was breaking it down with Tim Hasselbeck, and he goes, that caused the whole thing today that we'll get to another day. And he goes, I don't understand why people are so unhappy sometimes. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. That's all he said. And I was like, I agree with that. 100%. I understand that journalists have integrity and they learn things in journalism school, and that's fine. I totally respect that. But it didn't need to be where you crapped on her in that moment.
No. Also, a lot of regular reporters have, missed the boat on getting a chance to capitalize on that joke by opening up a press conference saying that they're really proud of what they've done.
Oh, I anticipate someone's going to make fun of that.
Well, they should have. I think it's too late now. Joke's past.
No, I think someone watched the Bills or somebody like the Bills could beat the Broncos this weekend, and someone's like, Josh, I just want to commend you for the job you've done today and within this victory.
I think we should. I think we should make that the norm.
Yeah. Anyway, the last two games, blowouts. The Patriots beat up on the Chargers. I know some people are coming down Justin Herbert's road, and I'm like, I don't think. Yes, he didn't play great, but honestly, like, I thought it was an uphill battle for them. Like, with the fact that their two starting tackles were out, Justin Herbert's been running for his life for a good deal of time now, and it just, he was running for his life. He was running for his life again in this game, and he got sacked. I think it was 6 times, and Drake May got sacked a bunch too. His offensive line hasn't been great, but at least he has better offensive playmakers at the moment. Justin Herbert's 0-3 in the postseason, and I agree with the decisions that Jim Harbaugh made initially, where they got that interception to start the game, and they wanted to capitalize off of that and get something like a touchdown out of it. And they went for it on 4th and goal, didn't get it. It was a low-scoring game. Only the Patriots come up with a touchdown to Hunter Henry, but and they're the better team. But I don't know. I don't think that people need to say like, well, Justin Herbert's like Andy Dalton now. It's like, no, he's very talented. It's just if his offensive line was beat up, and you saw them make a change today where Greg Roman's no longer the offensive coordinator. So I questioned that decision in the first place, where I thought he was more of a run game coordinator, more running QBs oriented, but they need to get someone in there that can make Justin Herbert, the quarterback that he should be.
From a Chargers source about Greg Roman, my source said, I'm excited to see a non-archaic play caller who doesn't look like they refer to throwing the ball as the forward pass.
That's from Evan.
Sources, Derek.
You just say Evan. It's all good.
Sources.
Okay.
I'm a journalist now, apparently.
Yeah. You're a esteemed journalist. I agree with Evan
give
there.
away my sources.
I agree with Evan Giddings, where Initially, I thought they were throwing the football well to start the season, but that's bound to happen when Rashad Slater and Joe Alt go down. So they got some solid wide receivers. They probably could improve in that department. I know they want to get DK Metcalf. Maybe they go after A.J. Brown. Who knows? But I'm not going to put it on Justin Herbert in that situation. I think just the Patriots were the better team, and like I said, he was just running for his life. It was kind of a crappy game to watch to begin with too, but it was a playoff game, so I was watching it.
It was crappy. I'm not gonna lie. I had it on a multi-view with the Golden Globes. I'm on the right.
Oh, really? Nice. Did you like Nikki Glazer's monologue?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't find myself laughing out loud. Really, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a few funny jokes, but I didn't watch it. I just saw clips on social media.
Her podcast skit was funny.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, she made fun of Nicole Kidman's AMC thing. But instead
heartbreak feels like good. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Exactly. But instead, she just kind of made fun of podcasts, and it's like the ones that were nominated, where it's just Amy Poehler, whose Good Hang Pod ended up winning the Golden Globe for best podcast, which is just so.
Oh yeah, this is a new category. Yeah, that's we're doing podcasts now.
It is the worst category, actually. I hate the category. Like, not as a jealousy thing because we have the podcasts. I'm like, why do you need a best podcast category? It's obviously a political thing.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope where if you want this to be about entertainment, just keep it about entertainment. But was Joe Rogan in the category?
No. Of
course, he's the most popular. I mean, not to say like I listened to it or anything, but like, why wasn't it?
Yeah, but so she was making fun of like Smartless, your pod.
Yep.
She was making fun of Smartless and just said like podcasts where you can listen to anything where you can't listen to anywhere else. And then it's just Jason Bateman like, so what's your favorite kind of cookie? And Will Arnett's just like, yeah, I like a double chocolate chip. I like a double chocolate chip. I think I like it. Or then it goes to Amy Poehler, and then it's like, Gwyneth Paltrow, what time did you eat dinner last night? Can I say 5:45? Oh, I love that. early dinner. You know, like it's all political with that with that category.
Oh, 100%. So who were nominated? It was Smartless, Amy Poehler. So it was just celebrities with podcasts.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's slippery slope.
I think Call Her Daddy was up there too.
Okay. But none of the like alt-right ones, huh?
They're not alt-right. I think Joe Rogan is just, I don't know, man. Yeah, we talked about him so much. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Yeah, I know. He's changing his tune a lot these days, but he's
still
never
the
going
same, but he's not. It's just there's so many people against him now. It's a whole different vibe.
I get it. No, dude, I get it. He's polarizing. But if you're going to have a best podcast category, I'm sorry, like, doesn't his get a ton of, like, what do you base it off of? Just so, like, what the foreign press like when it comes to podcasts? What are their favorites? Like, come on. Like, how do you justify, like, what's in that category?
Oh, that's right. Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard.
Yeah, again, these are celebrities with podcasts. You're not going to have, like, you or me.
The Mel Robbins podcast, which
I don't know who the hell that is.
I've never heard of. Up First with NPR, which I do listen to, but that's literally a podcast that goes in for like 15 minutes. The Daily should have been nominated. If you're going to use a news podcast, a daily news podcast, and you don't have the New York Times Daily on there, sorry, Golden Globes. It's a joke.
Sounds like it.
Hi, I'm Michael Barbaro, and this is The Daily. Oh, get my morning started right away.
And then, yeah, we talked about it briefly before, but Texans and Steelers, that game was. Texans have a really good defense. I think they have a championship caliber defense. That's kind of in the same vein as what we saw 10 years ago with the Broncos, Steelers with Mike Tomlin back in the day, Baltimore Ravens, Bucks. But I don't know if you can win with that style anymore of just the defense carrying you. I don't know if that's the case. CJ Stroud did not play very well, didn't need to. And yeah, like we said earlier, Aaron Rodgers running for his life as well. Just looked old and slow, and I don't think they ever stood a chance with that fast defense. It was sad to see him, his last two plays, a fumble recovered for a touchdown by Sheldon Rankins, and then a pick six, which will probably be the last two plays of his career. But yeah, I think Texans, by far have the best defense remaining in the postseason.
You think by far?
Yes, I think the Seahawks, Broncos, and Patriots are in the conversation, but the Texans are on another level.
They are with their pass rush. I think Will Anderson, like, he's properly rated, but it feels like he's underrated still. Like, we always talk so much about Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa and TJ Watt, while Will Anderson's just right there all the time.
He is. He just hasn't got. He's been in the league for a few years now, but like as far as the sack numbers, he might finish second as Defensive Player of the Year next to Myles Garrett for having an historic season. But yeah, he'll definitely get up there if he's like Danielle Hunter's been consistent his entire career. Like it seems like he gets 15 sacks every year, and Will Anderson will be that guy.
Yeah, at some point. They're stacked across the board. Always nice to get a Danico Autry sighting. It's crazy that dude's still in the league.
Yeah, dude, they're just loaded, man. They have so much depth on that defensive line, and their linebackers are equal parts great in coverage and just knock the crap out of you. Their secondary is pretty damn good. So, yeah, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the Texans do some damage in this postseason. All right, Steven, anything else?
Well, Jesse sent me something for pop culture catch up. Maybe we can.
This is a Tuesday show. You got to save that for a Saturday show.
I know, right? But Kiefer Sutherland arrested for alleged assault of a rideshare driver.
Do we know if it was Uber or Lyft?
Not sure, but I think that driver had 24 minutes to get to their destination. Didn't make it there in time.
I was trying to think of a 24 joke in there. Okay. I accept it.
Now the driver's a flatliner.
Oh.
Because he's dead, maybe.
He was in that?
He was in Flatliners. Yeah.
Did you just give yourself a like? On that joke?
Well, I didn't mean to.
All right. On that note, God, Kiefer. To everybody in the chat, we'll see you guys on. Yeah, I'm going to the Warriors game on Thursday. So let's do cool with Saturday again, Steven?
Thumbs up. Come
Thumbs
on,
up.
dude. How?
What?
I can't get a thumbs up.
I gave you one.
No, I don't need one from you. I need the screen to do it automatically.
What? It just does that every time you do a thumbs up?
Yeah, it mimicked the thumbs up. I don't have a way to give a thumbs up.
No, I think you hit something. That's why I did that.
I didn't hit nothing. My hands are free here. I'm fiddling with a pen and I've got my thumb.
Okay, I always wonder what you're doing in that other hand. Good to know now. We got a pen there.
Yes.
All right, easy. All right. We'll end the show on that. We'll see you guys early. We'll see you guys early on Saturday morning. To Ernie One, to Rocka New Era, to AJ Cruz, to Otis Burgers the Word, to Mac Van. Good to see you, Mac Van. Your jerky is spicy, your Reaper. To Otis Bird is the Word. I said jerky. I know what I said there. To the Skills Report. To Pat H. I believe I saw Pat H in here earlier. If I didn't, I apologize for misrepresenting you tonight. All right, buddy. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Steven, say what you always say.
Have a spicy evening. It is just our opinion, man.